We all just gotta get away. And what better way than cruising into the sunset? Boats are back online, ready to ship the weary to an exotic locale while being kind to the environment. Here to help get your itinerary in order is Joyce Landry, CEO of Landry and Kling Global Cruise Services and founder of Sustainable Cruises. Thank you so much for joining us from beautiful Miami.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're in one of the heart and soul destinations or launching pads for a lot of cruises. So you're in the perfect spot. But tell us a little bit about how the cruise industry was impacted by the pandemic.
Absolutely 100% totally shut down. So we've been in a shutdown state for the better part of the last 11 months. And when it first happened, we didn't know how long it was going to last. We just thought, well, maybe a month or 2 or 3. So we started to cancel bookings. We started to cancel them through the summer. And then all of a sudden we canceled the summer through the fall. And then we canceled the fall through this year. We're now canceling this year into next year. I mean, it has been completely devastating, to those who are involved in this side of the industry. So, we had to look at, okay, what's going to happen afterwards? So when the cruise lines start coming back, will they be different? Will they be looking at sustainability as a matter of fact? How will this all come to be? And so we're looking forward to actually a better industry. I think we've all gotten better during this time. I think we've all noticed that the water has been cleaner, that the world has been cleaner without us human beings trampling around on it. So, let's take a look at coming back, but just coming back in a way that we're protecting things also.
Yes, definitely. And speaking of protecting, you did come out with a product, which we'll get to in just a couple of minutes. But, Charleston being a huge port city and those cruise lines shutting off meant a lot of business taken away. But by that same token, you say that things have improved. So I'm curious to know what those improvements are. Is it itinerary? Is it service? What is it?
Well, it's actually in the hard goods themselves. I mean, we scrapped a lot of ships during COVID. There were so many ships that were just let go, the older vessels, and they were given up for scrap. They were recycled and turned into other things. And so now we have an opportunity to really restart the industry in a new way. And you'll see things like LNG, liquefied natural gas, coming out on engines. And that would be absolutely no emissions, really keeping that down, very clean cruising. I think that the cruise industry has had somewhat of a mixed reputation in how we've handled the environment. Have we really taken care of it? Or, are we just really out there to put as many people on ships as we can? So one of the reasons we started Sustainable Ships was to be a mouthpiece for the cruise industry and to really help to bang the drum about what they're doing. There are things regarding waste, regarding water on board, gray water, how we can actually have it get rid of that without having it pollute the water, using single-use plastics on board. There are a lot of cruise lines that are making relationships locally, and I think this will be great for the Low Country as well. They're looking for local relationships, for farm-to-table foods, for local wines, for beer distributors, and so on. So I think that you'll see there will be more of a local interaction going forward, and we hope that will benefit Low Country as well.
Absolutely, yes. We all like the sounds of that. We have so many breweries here and so many purveyors of all kinds of products that would love to get their products on board.
By the way, I just heard also that like Virgin Cruise Line that's coming out, they didn't even get a chance to launch. I feel badly. I mean, they were about to launch when COVID hit. And they've made arrangements actually with a Miami brewery to brew their own beer with their own label on it. And so I think once they do that, others will kind of kick that in and they'll be looking for local opportunities.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, have itineraries changed at all? Because depending on now where the pandemic is seeing a resurgence, I would imagine that would also change the way in which people travel, where they travel to.
Yes, and there will be a little more closer to home. I think that people have looked at their travel appetite and looking at the way that they were traveling before, maybe too much international travel and so on, and let's be a little bit closer to home. So I'm looking at the future as opening up ports more that are in our area so that the ships have a place to go. I mean, we noticed that during COVID, that the first place that the ships started was a close to home itinerary. So they're sticking around and they're not going so far away. So you might find more calls in a place like Charleston.
Yeah, because let's not forget when the pandemic hit, how many people were stranded so far away on ships for days on end.
Well, that, and I don't know, I've noticed, and I think a lot of my colleagues have, that we were just traveling foolishly. I'm going to call it that. And my own personal consumption of airline travel was beyond the sustainable way that I would like to be. It didn't make me feel good that I was wasting all of that jet fuel by traveling all over the world when there are so many close to home opportunities that are very interesting, historically significant, and very much an enlightening experience that we can stay a little closer. Oh,
I completely agree. Well, speaking of sustainability, talking about just helping the environment, we've been seeing a lot of masks littering the roadways and sidewalks wherever we go now. But you came up with a fantastic idea that now is being distributed to the cruise lines. Tell us more about this.
Yes, it's called Mask Keeper. And the idea came because we couldn't go out and do our normal exercise routine during the pandemic, which is rowing, being on the water. Yeah. But we were going on bridges and walking, and it was windy, and we were looking at the water saying, wow, we're seeing masks actually flying off of people's faces and ending up in the water. So we did a little bit of research and discovered that 70% of the masks that are being used today will ultimately end up in the water somewhere. Wow. And so that also made us think the cruise industry, when we finally do start coming back, thousands of people sitting up on deck with a mask on, taking it down to have a sip of a drink or a little bit of food, and then putting it in their pocket, maybe putting it around their wrist, and then it flies off. Right. And so we thought, how can we keep that closer to our body? So we created something called the Mask Keeper. Fantastic. And it actually clips onto a mask, any mask that you have, and goes around the back of your neck, so your mask can actually just stay right here in a very comfortable place, put it up, put it down. And so if you're going through the public areas on the ship, put it on, and if you're not, take it off. And it's just a lot easier than
it's ingenious.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's ingenious. Joyce, that's fantastic. Well, congratulations on that and just keeping things going. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Now I can't wait to take a cruise. I love cruises.
Good. Well, we've got one for you, so you let us know when you're ready.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joyce.
You're welcome.
We'll be back after this.